So when I do these videos, a lot of times I like to look at research. A lot of people say, well, where's the research on this? And I don't always do that because there's not always research on everything, especially natural things. But I wanted to look at the research on something you may have heard of called a PUFA, P-U-F-A. It stands for polyunsaturated fatty acids. And these are the vegetable oils that have come into our food supply in such a great degree. And it doesn't really matter if they're organic or not organic. These vegetable oils do lead to a lot of inflammation in the body. So this study is called Diet Gene Interactions and PUFA Metabolism, a potential contributor to health disparities and human diseases. So there's a lot of talk recently about how when our diet changed to have more of these PUFAs used, like the whole push was to get rid of tallow, and tallow is just rendered fat, right? Get rid of tallow, get rid of, butter, all the saturated fats. Oh, those are so bad. But the change actually started happening a long time ago, 75 years ago. So we're talking in the 1940s. And so this study goes on to say the modern Western diet has increased the onset and progression of chronic human diseases, which we've seen around us. If we've lived any length of decades, you can see the rates of all these different diseases are going up. And what they are attributing this to is there's been a threefold increase in dietary levels of these omega-6 fatty acids, these PUFAs, and with the addition of cooking oils and processed foods. So these PUFAs are in all kinds of things. And you guys, I love an organic corn chip as much as the next person, but I have to say, okay, I'm not going to do this a lot because we've got the safflower oil, the sunflower oil, even sometimes the canola oil. And even though they're organic, they are a polyunsaturated fatty acid. So this study says, perhaps at no time in human history has the human diet changed so dramatically and rapidly than in the past 75 years in developed countries. Look back at movies from the 1930s and the 1940s. Most of the people are thin. You do have the occasional overweight person, but the natural state of Americans was to be thin, not today. So they're saying this has been largely driven by the PUFAs, and many of these changes have led to increases in obesity and genetic reactions that contribute to disease. We talk about something called gene mutations and epigenetics. You've got your genes that you inherit, but you also have genes that can be turned on by environmental toxins and other, negative triggers. Well, PUFAs are one of those triggers. So it contributes to local inflammation and body-wide inflammation. It contributes to a wide range of human diseases, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, asthma, allergies, chronic joint disease, skin and digestive disorders, dementia, and Alzheimer's disease. So ask yourself, are we seeing an increase in all of these? Yes. And what this study is saying is that PUFAs are a big part of that. There are other triggers as well, don't get me wrong, but this is a huge one. So start examining the foods that you eat, particularly convenience foods, snack foods, that kind of thing. And again, don't let organic make you think you're getting away with something. You don't want much of these. Now, let's say you do want an organic corn chip. What you want to do is take some extra vitamin E with that meal. Vitamin E can help to prevent some of the inflammation and damage from these PUFAs. But it doesn't mean go crazy and just take a bunch of vitamin E. It's just to say, hey, if you're occasionally going to do this, this is a health hack that you can use, to minimize any damage. So I hope this is helpful.